I'm Greg, and you're listening to Totally Preventable.
Totally preventable.
Totally preventable.
Totally preventable. Totally preventable.
Totally preventable.
Totally preventable.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Polly, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right.
Who we got on our pod today?
So today we have Child and Family of Rhode Island. We have Jennifer Allen. She is the Aging Well Supervisor.
Oh, maybe a long lost cousin of mine.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I just put that connection together when you said that. When you said that, the Allens do a lot. So
We do. We're a busy group.
This is very possible. Aging Well, obviously, or maybe not obviously, is talking about our elder care system throughout Rhode Island.
And this is through Child and Family.
Child and Family.
When I hear of Child and Family, I don't think of our older population. So that's fabulous. I guess it's the family part.
Yeah, she's the licensed clinical social worker there, and she oversees all the case managers. So it's going to be good. Good to hear about what's going on with our older population, and here's some numbers, and here's some great services and programs that they have going on.
Excellent. I can't wait.
All right. Without further ado, today with us we have the licensed clinical social worker, head of Aging Well of Child and Family, Jennifer Allen. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. It's Wednesday. The sun is shining. Life is good. Thank you for having me.
We are very, very thankful that you're here. We're just going to go right ahead, jump right into it. And what does independent living look like for our older population?
Independent living for older adults means having the ability to remain either in their own home, because a lot of these older adults, they had families, grew up in these homes. They want to stay in these homes. This is where they're comfortable. This is where they feel safe. Oftentimes that doesn't happen, so they end up going into, subsidized housing. But as long as it's housing of their choice. And I mean, these services that the older adults can get can be skilled or unskilled. Skilled includes like physical therapy, occupational therapy, things of that nature. And then obviously unskilled is home care, which is having either a homemaker or certified nurse's aide come in to help them with bathing, dressing, grooming, stuff like that. Do some shopping, do some laundry. Offering them Meals on Wheels. So this is for homebound people. If, they're stuck and they can't get a meal, at least with Meals on Wheels, they're getting a decent meal that, fulfills the whole food pyramid, I guess is what it would be, at least for either, lunch or dinner, depending on when the older adult wants to eat. And then obviously there's Lifeline. So being able for an older adult to age in place and having their choice where to spend their golden years, as everybody calls it, is really important.
Are there a lot of older adults in Rhode Island?
There are. At this point in time, there are more than 240,000 older adults, and that's qualified as over the age of 60, which is 23% of the population. Also, fun fact for you that I found, by 2035, people over the age of 65 will outnumber children for the first time in history.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that national or just in Rhode Island?
National.
National. Wow.
2035.
Mm-hmm. Which you think about it is what?
I'll probably
12
be
years
part of
away?
that population.
Well, I think they encompass baby boomers. That's what they're referring to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
In my eagerness to jump right into this, I should have started by asking, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to this position, how you got to be the supervisor of aging.
I started off doing CNA work in a nursing home. I fell in love with older adults. I tell people all the time, the meaner, the crotchier, the better. I like the ones that will, swear at you, tell you to leave me alone. I like them. I don't know why. I think I gravitate towards them. And for some reason they like me. I don't know why. I just fell in love with it. And then while I was doing that, I did hospice work, which, I went all over the state of Rhode Island. So seeing, family members, in such a time of need and trying to offer what little I could really gave me that powerful, oh my God, I really want to help. So that kind of led me to do social work. Graduated with my BSW, went on, got my master's, which I will tell you, trying to do a master's program during the pandemic was not fun, but I did it. I said, it's 9 months, I can do this.
Good.
At the same time, raising my family, being a full-time case manager, and then it just naturally progressed that the supervisor here left and they said, hey, you've got a master's degree. Here you go, have a promotion. I said, thanks. And take the headache that comes along with it. So.
Great.
I actually spent a lot of time growing up with my older great aunt. She was the oldest of my grandfather's family. He was the youngest. She was the oldest. So this is near and dear to my heart. And my uncle had Alzheimer's. So and they were both able to stay in their home until they passed away. And that was very important because they worked very hard for what they had.
Mm-hmm.
And to get old and then have to leave it seemed like very unfair. And I know in some cases it has to be, but so can you describe some risks that older adults have when they are living in their homes?
First and foremost, falling. We all know, those of us who are older have all seen the commercial, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. And we kind of giggle about it because, oh my God, somebody fell, he. But in reality, an older adult that falls, who knows how long they're going to be there for? If, they don't have somebody that comes checks on them, they don't have family. And that's why we're, a big advocate for Lifeline, because not for nothing, if they've got the button, they have it where it's a wristwatch or it's around your neck. They have GPS ones now where if an older adult is active, they can go for a walk and have it. And I think there was something in the news probably a couple of years ago where an older gentleman, he had it, he fell walking in the park, pushed the button and they were able to get to him to get, help. But that's the thing, they fall, they can break a hip, they're on the ground, they can't get to a phone, and especially if they're living in their own home, forget about it. They're sitting there yelling, help, help, help. Nobody hears them. And it's not until somebody says, oh, hey, I haven't seen Jane come out for her mail in 2 days. Let me go knock on the door and see how she's doing. And then they walk in, find her on the floor, 911. Another risk is food. Those of us that are able and competent, we take it for granted. We don't think of trying to go get food. But for an older adult that's in their own home, that can't drive, don't have family, how are they getting it? Yes, they get SNAP benefits, but if they don't have anybody to go to the store to get it, they're not going to get it. Which I think the pandemic really brought out, like Instacart and home deliveries. I mean, there was Peapod, but not a whole lot of people used it. But being stuck in your home, there you go. There's your food delivery. The only downside to all of that is they charge a fee. So obviously older adults, they're on some sort of, fixed income. So here they are, they want food, they can pay for it with their EBT card, but they also have to pay whatever the delivery fee is or the yearly fee. It's frustrating. And I think that's where, having Meals on Wheels comes into play, because then, like I said, at least they'll get one meal that's balanced, that they can at least count on. So, and medication. Again, we all take for granted, we can go to the pharmacy, pick it up. These older adults, if they can't, they don't get it. And then especially if they've got high blood pressure or diabetes. Diabetes is a big one, especially with insulin and checking your sugar levels. They can't do it. But there is a company, it's called White Cross, and they do deliver, which I think is really cool. It comes in a nifty little box and it's all prepackaged morning, afternoon, early PM, nighttime. So I think, you know, by being able to have some stuff delivered, it kind of makes it easier. I mean, obviously, you know, an older adult wants to get out, but if they can't, having it brought into their home is a benefit.
I know I'm can't remember if it was Lifeline, but I'm pretty sure it was. My mother had it when her illness got very, very bad. And I remember that it was sensitive. She not only had like the necklace, but she had some device
Mhm,
which they could speak right into the house.
Oh,
mhm.
So one day, when my genius self hit the button, and then they just started calling out her name, and I'm like, "Oh, sorry, it was an accident. I accidentally hit the button. She's fine. But they, you know, then again, they wanted to hear from her that she was fine.
right.
But it was like, whoa. I mean, it was instantaneous. So I am a huge advocate of all those services that, you know, can, and then hearing a GPS one is great as well.
That is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I can
mhm.
pinpoint exactly where you are. What services are provided by Child and Family for the older population?
Child and Family does a lot for older adults. But by far the biggest thing that we do is case management. And this includes helping older adults apply for Medicaid, which I didn't know older adults had to apply for it. It's not like Medicare where once they turn 65, it's automatically they get it. Didn't know that. But yeah, we help them apply for what's called the community waiver, and that's for those that live either in their own home, live with a family member, you know, just kind of on their own. And then we also have, we help those that are in assisted livings. So, which is nice. But those in the community, we help them get like medical equipment, like a hospital bed, a wheelchair, a walker, a rollator, which I call the Cadillac of walkers, because those are the ones that you see with the seat on it. They got the brakes, they got the little basket underneath.
Horn.
Yes. Yep. In some cases, a horn. Yep.
Wow.
We've helped people get power chairs, and it's all in coordination with doctors' offices, because obviously Medicare and Medicaid, you know, it's paperwork.
Mhm.
So we have to go to the doctor and say, hey, you know, Joe, he needs a power chair. You know, can you send the script to the wheelchair clinic so he can get evaluated? And it's often a process, which sometimes can be tedious. We help older adults get home care because they don't have it, they don't know how to get it. And I think being on the community waiver, it gives us more flexibility to get people what they need versus, you know, having them to pay out of pocket for it. Like oftentimes we'll be like, yeah, you know, with Medicare, Medicaid, the waiver, you can get, you know, this rollator, you don't have to pay for it. And the families are like, oh, geez, I just bought my grandmother one. If I had known. So, yes.
What are some tips for family members or loved ones on when they should reach out to you?
That's a gray area. I mean, it depends on the older adult. I mean, obviously, if a family member is taking care of their mom, their dad, their grandmother, and they just start to notice, oh, hey, gee, you know, mom's doing a lot of hand holding on the furniture. You know, maybe we should look into trying to get her some services. Or, hey, gee, dad's not doing so well on his own with preparing his meals, or, he's wearing the same clothes and they look a little, maybe we should look into getting, some help. It varies. And then often you get the older adults that are like, no, I'm fine. I can do it. Leave me alone. And unfortunately, if they can sit there and say, I don't want it, and they're of sound mind, we can't force them.
Mm.
But I mean, it just depends on the older adult and the family member.
So in your opinion, are there symptoms? Excuse me, I know you gave a few samples. Are there other symptoms that would indicate, maybe mom or dad are struggling?
Forgetfulness. That's a really big red flag. I mean, you go over to mom and dad's house or grandma and grandpa's house and you smell something burning. We've all heard of an older adult leaving the stove on, or, forgetting to lock the door, or, they wander. They've gotten to the point now where they're talking about, oh, I need to go to the store, but they don't have a vehicle to get there. And then they're wandering the street and their neighbor picks them up and brings them back. Unfortunately, there's just no telling. There's no like checklist, I want to say, for parents or children to say, oh yeah, mom needs X, Y, and Z. She needs help now. It's just a matter of a little thing here, a little thing there, forgetting keys, or if they still can drive, driving somewhere and not knowing where they're going. Or they don't know how to get back home once they go to the store.
It's coming soon, Greg, for me.
No,
Just kidding.
it's totally preventable. You got about 30 years.
Okay, awesome. So unfortunately, we hear some about elder abuse. Can you define elder abuse for us?
I went on to the Office of Healthy Aging's website, and they defined elder abuse as an intentional act or failure to act that causes or creates a risk of harm to an older adult. And that's any older adult over the age of 60. And this can occur at the hands of a caregiver or a person that they trust. And just a little FYI, everybody in the state of Rhode Island is a mandated reporter. So if you even suspect, something's going on with your neighbor, your grandmother, the person that you see, on your morning walks, you can call Office of Healthy Aging. Their phone number 401-462-0555, and you can report anytime, day or night, 365 days of the year. There's somebody there to answer. And they also have the website. So you can go onto the OHA website if you don't feel comfortable with talking with someone, and you can make it anonymous. I know on the form it asks for name, but you can also write just anonymous if you don't feel comfortable, or if you're afraid that there's going to be some repercussions because you're reporting that your neighbor Bob, he's been abusing his mom, and you just don't want, you want to see her get some help, but you don't want something to happen to you. So
are there multiple forms of elder abuse, or does it just take one form?
Oh no, there's actually, again, from the website, there are 7 common types of elder abuse, which include physical abuse, neglect, emotional abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, self-neglect, and abandonment.
How is Rhode Island's data looking around the safeness of our older population?
Unfortunately, 1 in 10 older adults are victims of elder abuse. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just one of the 7. It could be, self-neglect with financial abuse from a family member or a caretaker. The state has recorded around, I want to say like 2,000 reports of elder abuse last year.
Wow.
And about 1,600 of those were founded cases.
What do you mean by founded cases?
What means is the protective services worker went out, they evaluated the, report that came in, they determined, yes, we see that there is self-neglect, or we see that there's physical abuse. And then that gets moved on to someone like us, a case management agency, to then go out and try to dig deeper into what's going on and try to get the, client some services, whether it's home care or even, in the case of somebody that's self-neglecting, that's hoarding, trying to get them into either an assisted living or a nursing home or in with a family member.
And how is your child and family staff trained to assist in these matters of elder abuse? Like, how do the case managers handle this? I know you said there's mandatory reporters.
Oh, we're mandatory reporters.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
And that is not totally preventable, I'm just saying.
Okay.
We are reporters no matter what.
All right. So how is the staff trained to handle that?
When it comes to staff training, it's kind of the on-the-job training where you kind of take the case manager. We have basically a checklist of questions that we go out with, and we do unannounced visits. It's kind of like with child welfare services, they do unannounced visits for children. We do them for older adults. We go out, we knock at the door, hopefully they answer. We can kind of gauge, right from the start, their appearance. Are they clean? Are they unkept? Are they cognitively intact? Like, can they tell me, what's the date, what's the time, stuff like that, and that's important because, we can get to somebody's house and they could be, having some sort of mental, episode, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, maybe we need to get, EMS here. Maybe, there might be some other way to figure out what we can do. I mean, we check in to see, once we're allowed into the home, we check the refrigerator. Do they have food? We kind of take a look around, is there old food sitting out? Is there clutter? Is there hoarding? And we kind of document what we see. Have they been to their PCP recently? Okay, what are your medications? Are you taking them the way you're supposed to? And it's just, picking up on, verbal cues and visual cues and just trying to talk with an older adult. Oftentimes we run into, situations where the older adult is fearful to talk with us because, their caretaker or their family member, is abusive to them. And they don't want to talk just because they're like, oh, if I say something to you, when my son Johnny comes home, oh my God, he's going to X, Y, and Z. So, I mean, it's just a lot of like on the job, what you see. I mean, we do go to conferences and whatnot, annually, just to, see what else is out there, see, whatever cyber scams are going on, phone scams. We all have been told, the IRS is not going to contact you, Social Security is not going to call you, and if you get somebody, saying, hi, I'm from Social Security, click, because it's not true. If Social Security wants you, they're going to mail you something. Good old snail mail.
My husband is not elderly, but he gets some notices from Social Security every now and then, and he's always thinks they're real. Like, no, they'll let you know, don't worry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If cases of elder abuse are found to be true, do you have specific services for elders that are being abused?
I mean, I guess it would depend on what the abuse is. I mean, obviously, financial, sexual, anything of that nature, we're going to contact the Attorney General's office, get them involved, and see, there is a financial or there is a legal component to it that is definitely out of our jurisdiction. And we want to make sure that, legal services are involved if there is something, that needs to be done, whether it's, trying to get somebody's money back or, prosecuting, cases. I mean, that's definitely one of our biggest things. And I mean, one of the case managers that works with me, she does the victims of crime. So she works really well with, the Attorney General's office and police, departments to, try to help and try to coordinate services for them. But oftentimes it's getting them Medicaid, getting them medical equipment, getting them home care, Lifeline, Meals on Wheels, because often they have these issues, but they don't know where to go. And it takes like a visiting nurse going out to see them. I know Blue Cross, they have like an every 3 month or every 6 month, a nurse will go out, and it could just be that nurse goes out, today and then goes out 3 months from now and notices, oh, Susie Q's apartment when I first saw her was clean and now look at it. There's clutter, like why, between getting medical information and maybe getting her some home care to have somebody come in, do some cleaning, do some cooking. It's really just trying to connect the dots for some of these older adults because they just don't know.
Now, excuse me, I just really gotta get some tea. For those listening, what is the best way to contact Child and Family to start arranging these services?
You can definitely reach out to us via telephone, via internet. You can call 211, call the point. They're pretty good about getting, all the information needed and then kind of, I guess, disseminating it out to the correct agency. I know we work with 2 separate, I guess, regions is what they call it. I deal with the Providence and just Providence, not North Providence, East Providence, just Providence. And then we do Newport County, which is pretty much all the islands except for, I believe, Block Island and Point Judith, I believe. Yes.
All right. And what's that contact number? What's your website?
How sad is this? I can give out my personal number, like my work number. I do not know Child and Family's main number.
And whatever number you want to give out. How do they contact you?
Look, can I do a quick Google
Go
This is not very reflective of Child and Family. I'm just saying, this is so horrible. Oh, okay, let's see, contact us. Okay, so for Providence, if you're in Providence, the Providence phone number is 401-781-3669. And then for Newport County, it's 401-849-2300. And then Child and Family's website is just childandfamilyri.com, all spelled out.
All right.
Thank you for being such an advocate for our older population.
I love it. Thank you. Like I tell people all the time, an older adult has so much to tell, has a huge story, and unfortunately they're getting older and they're not able to tell it as well as they once could have. I wish there was like a time capsule of getting somebody's life like once they turn 50, saying, hey, let's write a, quick memoir of like your first 50 years, especially for like the veterans and, some of the people that have been through some of, the amazing historic events that have gone on. Because yes, we have history books, but nothing beats a firsthand account, especially like the Titanic or something along those lines. Having somebody tell you exactly, it's better than, fiction. So.
Right. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for putting that nail right on it too. It was an awesome summer.
Yep. It was so nice to meet you, and we appreciate you joining us.
It was nice to be on Totally Preventable.
Thank you. You have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
I'm Polly, and you've just listened to Totally Preventable.
Totally preventable. Totally preventable. Totally preventable. Totally preventable.